Speaking about silly plots, what movie is?
Love the segue. Okay, so the next movie up is A Place Beyond the Pines from 2012. So it's about a motorcycle stunt rider who finds out his fathered a child with a woman in a town that he had visited not too long ago in the past. So he turns to robbing banks as a way to provide for his, provide for the woman and his newborn child. And then he collides with a rookie cop who is navigating through a department ruled by corruption. And I guess if I give away much more than that, it's probably going to lead to spoilers.
Yeah.
Because, there's a lot of unexpected things, I think, that happen in this movie. Or at least you wouldn't have expected certain people to disappear from the movie so suddenly. I mean, just like you've kind of got your John Goodman thing going on where you tend to love a lot of John Goodman movies. At least around this time, I was actually, I guess you could say I had a bit of a Ryan Gosling fetish. So I was watching a lot of his movies around this time. I saw this one in the theater, and it was roughly, in fact, I think it might have been a month or two within seeing Only God Forgives in the theater. So they both came out, at least in Australia, roughly around the same time. And yeah, I like this movie. As you know, I love Only God Forgives, and also Drive, which Ryan Gosling was in. That was a really good movie. This one is directed by a guy who also did a previous movie with Ryan Gosling called Blue Valentine, which I've seen once or twice. It's a very raw, gritty type romance movie, which kind of turns into a bit of a dark divorce. It's actually quite interesting. So the guy that directed the movie clearly has some writing talent, I thought. But this movie, I think, while I do really enjoy the movie as a whole, I think the better scenes are at the beginning, and so the more you go through the movie, it just has a slow decline as you're going through. Yeah, and I guess all the way up till it gets to its ending, while it's grown on me a little bit over time since I saw it. I remember in the theater, once the credits come up, I'm like, seriously, is that how you're going to end this? I mean, give me something a little more. But now that I've seen it a few more times, I'm like, yeah, I guess, how else are you... I don't know how else I was going to end that. What did you think of this one?
I thought it was a decent movie. It was well made, the cast is pretty decent. The movie takes some turns that you would not necessarily expect, and then something like maybe 40 minutes before the end of the movie, you get the multiple years later time skip, which is that's a sort of like a kick in the face. But the movie goes interesting places, does interesting things, and I mean, honestly, well, it's a movie I thought was pretty well made. I thought the story was decently well written. I don't know how much I enjoyed it past a certain point. I really enjoyed the police officer trying to deal with the corruption within his department. That was probably one of my favorite portions of the movie. But then the stuff before and after, none of it necessarily blew me away. Partially because Ryan Gosling's character was just a very difficult character in my opinion to like. He could have certainly dealt with his situation in a different way. I don't know. The after the time skip, I still enjoyed the story, but it wasn't necessarily quite what I was looking for. And to be honest, I'm not quite sure what I was looking for, but I know that wasn't it.
I think the movie has good selection of songs and has a good musical score by Mike Patton, who I'm not sure if you're familiar with Mike Patton. You may be, but he's got a bunch of different musical acts. He's been in some really popular bands, and he's a little hit or miss with me in terms of the different bands that he has. Some of them I really enjoy, some of them I don't care for, but I think the music in this movie is really good, and I can be quite swayed when it comes to music in movies. Like, having good music in a movie can be the difference between a 10 out of 10 and maybe a 7 out of 10. And that's just something I wanted to highlight because there's a bunch of different moments during the movie which I think are somewhat elevated with his selection of music. And yeah, the one track in particular, the Snow Angel track, which it suits the movie really well, and that's something I enjoyed.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I don't think I ever actually noticed the music.
Well, someone has to get the fuck out.
I mean, now on the upside, that means I didn't think it's particularly bad. I guess I don't know if it necessarily added much. I mean, honestly, the story itself is engaging enough. So I don't know if, really good music would have really changed much. I mean, it's a good movie anyway, so what more do you need?
I'm about to give away a spoiler here, just because I thought there was a somewhat funny moment in the movie. So just, if you don't want a spoiler, just mute for 30 seconds or whatever, but I mean, when Ryan Gosling's character gets shot and killed, and he's laying there with a pool of blood kind of expanding
okay,
from his head,
yeah.
these other cops are coming up saying, like, put your fucking hands up and stuff. I don't think he's going to be moving anytime soon.
I think that might be protocol.
Yeah, I think so. I just thought it was funny, being told to put your hands up when you're dead. So.
Yeah, that sort of cracked me up too. His guy, It's not like it's hidden like that. There's a bunch of blood pooling around his hat.
Yeah,
that's cops for you.
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people who listen to movie reviews and everything, some people just like hearing reviews about movies they've already seen. So I'm guessing the majority of people, at least if they're listening to this one segment, they've already seen the movie and probably know what happens. I just thought that was kind of amusing. Anyways, I think it's a good movie, written rather well. It's got some good scenes in it, especially earlier in the movie. Good selection of music. I'd probably go up to a 9 out of 10 for me. Like I said, the music in the movie is probably the thing that turned it up to a 9 over an 8 for me. And I stand by what I say. And if you don't like it, you can fight me.
I mean, my rating's not going to be too different from yours. I thought it was a pretty decent movie. I enjoyed the story. My two favorite parts of the story was probably the whole corrupt police sort of subplot, and then toward the end, and this is going to be somewhat random, but there's a character who's running for Attorney General of, I believe the state is New York, and that character didn't necessarily get a whole lot of screen time with his campaign, but me being a big fan of politics, I sort of liked seeing what his campaign was doing to get him to potentially win the Attorney General seat. So, very, very small thing, but that moved the movie up to an 8 out of 10.
I thought your favourite scene was when Ryan Gosling was dancing with the dog to Bruce Springsteen.
I actually think that might be one of my least favorite scenes. I mean, not because the scene was necessarily bad, but I feel like that he and that guy, I didn't much care for the relationship. Like, it was so random. They meet each other when one's biking and one's like, ATVing, and like they just strike up a friendship / he's my boss now, and hey, let's go rob banks. That does not sound like a healthy relationship, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, neither of them look like healthy people.
I did like Ryan Gosling's mini tattoos, though. They were well done.
Oh, those ratchet tattoos, yeah. They look like they're made with a home kit or something.
I just know, though, there's somebody out there with those exact same tattoos.
And probably wears their shirts backwards like he did too, which annoyed me.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I noticed that he was. What was his stage name? Handsome Luke.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I get it, but I wouldn't necessarily go out of my way to call that guy handsome.
I'm sure there's a lot of women out there who disagree.
Indeed,
and some men.
I was just about to say, because it's number one fun.